believe we're going to have a real market meltdown between January and March. They've destroyed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of businesses. The economy's not going to bounce back, and it's not bouncing back everywhere or anywhere. It's not, life is very different from when it used to be. I believe we're going to have a real market meltdown between January and March, and they could actually crash in March. We'll see what happens. We need more trend developing in certain sectors, particularly the oil sector, and oil prices were down a bit today because there's not great expectations that the Chinese opening up is going to be a big opening. And it's very important to note this. They've destroyed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of businesses with their serious zero COVID policy. The economy's not going to bounce back, and it's not bouncing back everywhere or anywhere. It's not, life is very different from when it used to be. Again, I have to be very careful talking about COVID because we got censored because of our peace and freedom rally. So I'm not talking about COVID anymore in terms of the scientific data, because anything you say that is contrary to what the government tells you to say is misinformation in this land of the USSA, the United Soviet States of America. So, going back, what they've done with this COVID policy, not only them, but it's all around the world. Businesses are totally different. Places close early now. There's no nightlife anymore. Again, Woodstock is 15 minutes from me. You go there on a Saturday night. When I moved up to Rhinebeck in 1979, we used to go to Woodstock. We'd go out like at 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night. When I lived in the city, we got 1 o'clock in the morning. It was a whole different time. But now places are dead at 10:30 at night. Roads are empty. And not only here, in all across the country and around the world. The businesses have been affected by this COVID lockdowns are tremendous. So gold is going up because, well, here's a story in the Wall Street Journal, an epic dollar rally goes in reverse and investors expect further declines. I don't see much further declines. Yes, it's going to go down, but I'm not in this camp because the other currencies are so weak. So look what's going on in Europe. Oh, it's a lovely, lovely day. Inflation running at 10.7%. And, they're still near, you only have interest rates at 1.5% in the EU. So no, this thing is going to go down. You're going to see, I think, other currencies getting hit a lot harder. And the only reason that the dollar is up is because the other currencies are so strong. So, but it goes also, that is the feeling on the street because that's why gold prices are going up. So now if the dollar goes down, you're going to see gold prices boom because then it becomes more affordable for other countries to buy it because gold is dollar based. And they have here, most investors were caught off guard by the greenback strength this year. You know what that is. And then about how bad things are going. Well, the White House says it's not going to be that bad, so don't worry about it. And inflation takes biggest bite from the middle. According to studies of the Congressional Budget Office, many were also bolstered by federal payments during the pandemic. Federal payments during the pandemic. Printing up fake money, giving it to businesses, people. You obey what we tell you to say. Stay home. Here's money for you. And that's what created this inflation, is all of this cheap money that they pumped into the system, over $6 trillion in zero interest rate policy. But also they say during the pandemic, not during the pandemic. Stop calling it a pandemic. It's because of the lockdowns imposed upon by the populations, by the politicians. End of story. Beijing bolsters trade ties with neighbors. Well, I care about what happened last year. What's going to happen next? What are the trends shaping the future? We don't know. We don't have a clue about it. So we'll just feed the people and they'll swallow it. So anyway, Beijing, there's going to be a big shift here. But again, they're not going to bounce back. The damage that they've done to the Chinese economy is unprecedented. Worse than what the West did to their economy. But on the long term, 10, 15 years, but probably 5 years will probably be out of it. You're going to see more and more growth in China, more and more pulling away from the West. Big coal miners profit triple as global demand surges during an energy crisis. Again, you know what that is, right? Not an energy crisis. The sanctions that the United States and NATO and other allies put on Russia that drove up the prices. So now all you people that love climate change, you're the same faces hanging out the Ukrainian flags in front of your houses. Yet 2022 was the year when beer lost its mantle. And it goes on. Huge reversal from the 1970s, where beer accounted for 70% of all alcoholic drinks consumed in Australia. Quote, the big change is that people are drinking at home and not buying in pubs anymore. Half the beer produced in Australia was consumed in pubs in the 1970s. Back in the 70s, you used to go out and play. There were bands. Places all over the place, people going out and having fun. And now with the lockdowns, in Australia was one of the toughest ones. People can't afford to buy the stuff. You're looking like at $10 a pint. And more people are at home. As I was saying, this damage from the COVID war is incalculable. Economically, spiritually, mentally, and physically. 1 to 17-year-olds, there are 72.8 million in America. Less than 2,000 died from the coronavirus. And according to the CDC, over 60% of those hospitalized in that age group for coronavirus were obese. But yet the damage that they have done, as I said, is incalculable. And then on to the Ukraine war. The hypocrisy of propaganda is beyond the belief. They had embedded reporters back in the Iraq war. You didn't have freedom of this press anymore. Embedded. You're in bed with the government, embedded reporters. So anyway, this is what they're doing. Look at this. Look at this. Page after page. Page after page. This isn't news. It's propaganda. And finally, it's global. If we don't have a renaissance and a move to a higher spirit, it's the end of life on earth. Danger ahead, 2023. You got it? It's a crime syndicate running a country near you. Are you like that little Catson Macron? You obey them. Be a good boy and girl. Listen to your leaders say. Follow the leader. Yep. Down the crap hole.